If you're going karting for the first time and you're feeling anxious or nervous, don't worry, I'm going to give you 5 easy tips to remember that will put your worries to rest, help you beat your friends, and hopefully get a good lap time. Now the first tip I can give you applies before you even get out on track. You see, it's important to establish a proper seat, pedal, and hand position. Ideally, you want your center of gravity to be in the middle of the kart, so bring the seat forward until there's a slight bend in your knees and your arms. Sit with an upright posture and keep your hands in a fixed position on the middle of the steering wheel. And I'm going to explain later in the video why this is so important. Once you're out on track, the second tip I can give you is to follow the concept of out, in, out. The easiest way to take a corner is to use the full width of the track. So enter the corner wide from the outside edge. You'll then turn in and take an apex at the inside edge, and then you'll exit the corner back out wide to the outside edge again. Avoid entering the corner too narrow because this makes the angle of the corner tighter for you, which means you'll have to turn more and slow the go-kart down more to reach the apex. Otherwise, you'll overshoot the corner. Use visual markers to help you navigate through a corner. You'll probably see a dark line on the track, and this represents the racing line, where most of the grip tends to be. This brings me on to my third tip for you, which is to apply the concept of slow in, fast out when you're cornering. You see, tight corners, such as a hairpin turn, will require braking, whereas slightly wider corners may just require a lift off the gas pedal. The key in rental karting when cornering is to keep your revs and your momentum high. The last thing you want to do is enter a corner too quickly, have a massive drift, come to a complete standstill, and then everyone passes you. Rather, flip your mindset to slow in, fast out, where you sacrifice a little bit of time on corner entry by braking early or lifting early, and then you start feeding the gas pedal progressively before the apex of the corner. And this helps you achieve better exit speed and gain that lap time. Now, rental karts only have rear brakes, so your aim is to use the brakes to turn the kart. So the harder you press the brakes, the more the rear end will rotate. Ideally, you want to press the brakes hard with a good amount of pressure, and this will induce some oversteer. In this phase, it's your responsibility to carefully control the kart by coming off the brakes and starting to feed the accelerator progressively again. Perfecting this braking technique will require a lot of practice. It's easy to press the brakes too hard and get too much oversteer, which will kill your momentum. So I would advise you to gradually build up brake pressure the more laps you do until you find the sweet spot. By the way, I'd highly recommend you watch my grip versus no grip video after this, where I explain how the condition of your track surface affects your braking technique. And this leads me on to my fourth tip for you, and that's leaning. When you're cornering, should you lean in or should you lean out? You see, go-karts have a solid rear axle and no differential, so it's essential to lift the inside rear tire when cornering. Leaning out will help lift the inside rear tire and also load the outside tires with grip, which helps immensely when cornering. Remember when I was telling you about hard braking, which helps rotate your kart? Well, if you combine hard braking and leaning out, you'll find that you barely have to turn the steering wheel to take a corner. And that's what we call neutral steer. You're using your brakes and your body weight to manipulate the handling of the kart. After all, you are the heaviest object in the kart, so use that to your advantage. And leaning out is especially useful in medium to high speed corners. You know, the ones where you don't necessarily brake, but you feel you have to lift off the gas slightly? Yeah, those ones. Well, next time, attempt that corner flat out, but at the same time, aggressively lean out into the corner of your kart seat while maintaining a firm grip on the steering wheel, and you'll be surprised how well the kart grips to the track. Now, my fifth and final tip for you is about overtaking, because let's be honest, there's no better feeling than passing your friends knowing they can't do anything about it. And that's why you need to master the switchback, or as Crofty likes to say,
it's the old switcheroo!
The switchback is where you lure your opponent into a false sense of security so that they defend and take the tight inside line. You need to do the opposite to them and stay wide on the outside line. And as they overshoot the corner, the gap to overtake opens up, and that's where you accelerate through, and bonus points if you can give them a wave as you pass them. You could also try to lick the stamp and send it, aka the dive bomb, but that's a lot more risky, because the driver in front may be unaware and turn in on you at the last moment. But in all seriousness, I really hope you enjoy your first ever karting experience. Please let me know in the comments how it goes and if these tips helped you. And for those watching who have already done karting before, I'd love to hear any stories you might have about the first time you went karting. If you want to learn a lot more tips about rental karting, be sure to download my free Go Karting ebook and consider joining the KTips Academy for free, where you can get live track help with me every week. But until the next video guys, I'll see you next time.